Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to MAGA First News on MAGA One Radio. This is behind the scenes here live on Facebook. I am setting up people and doing invitations right now like I usually do right before the show, doing a little live setup. Again, if you're trying to send me a message through here, for some reason I don't really see the messages live, so don't think I'm ignoring you. Basically, I just can't see the messages till afterwards. So stay tuned. We'll be going live in about 5 minutes here as I invite people into the room, and we're going to invite people into the live stream. Well, thank you for tuning in. It's MAGA1radio.net. If you want to listen to it live on the radio, it's our new network. We're going to be talking about Scaramucci, the Mooch, Trump, lots of other things, and crazy dogs that are in the background that keep barking. So stay tuned live, folks. Kind of watching Fox News right now, kind of catching up. Been a little busy all day, and normally I am much more prepared. But today, wonderful day. Wearing a different hat, wearing a red, white, blue Trump hat. Thanks for joining in. I'll be right back. Lay right there. Ow. Ridiculous. Lay down that. All right, folks. Sorry, I take care of the doggies. We'll be going live here in just a moment. Thanks, you stop that. That's not cool. I'm gonna Time America's great again. All right, yes, America is great, and thank you, Charlie Tango, for that mix. We play it live. I hope you've been listening all week because we have different changes going on with MAGA One Radio. I'm inviting more people to watch me live on Facebook Live. You can always catch me on my wall there, but the preferable way is to catch me on MAGA1Radio.net. I've been kind of really busy today, and normally I print out a lot of information, and this time I've kind of went green, and I've decided I've sent me an email with some of the news I'll be talking about. I've got Fox News on the screen right now on the Tucker Show, because you know I compete with Tucker, it seems. They're talking about, of course, the White House shakeup. It's Scaramucci, and what's it, Scaramucci, Reince Priebus, he's gone. But I never could understand that Reince Priebus person. Now that they get John Kelly, I think that's the great move, is let's move over to people I can pronounce. I can pronounce John Kelly. I can't pronounce Reince Priebus or Scaramucci. So let's get somebody in there that I can pronounce. I can pronounce Jeff Sessions. There's been a rumor that Jeff Sessions may be moved because, as we talked about it, Jeff Sessions cannot be fired because they basically said if he gets fired, and I think he's doing a so-so job. I think he's doing a job, but he could still be, he's a loyalist to Trump. Just because he is not doing everything that Trump wants, it doesn't mean that he can't go into a position that Trump could actually use him in a better position. And I think there's been some rumors about him working for the Department of I think Security or HOH or something. I'm not sure exactly. I know they can move some musical chairs around and they can get somebody else who's confirmed in. But one bottom line is Donald Trump has actually been doing all of this. He has been running the White House with like a third, if any, of the staff. They said that Donald Trump has about 50 people confirmed at this point, and Obama had about over 200 people confirmed at this point. Because they've been basically stomping on anybody that Trump tries to put in the White House. Not only have they been messing with the Russia issue, they've been just basically blocking all the people invited. Like I've been tweeting on Facebook, and Twitter all day. I was like, Trump, I need a job. I'm a loyalist. People know I'm a loyalist. I'm very based. I'm not as crazy as Scaramucci was. I'm not going to use as many cuss words. I'm not going to rat out people. I'm not going to leak things out. But I'm going to be a loyalist enough that you don't have to worry about me. You could put me in a job, Trump, and I will do it. I've got a lot of things doing. I mean, hell, it's grassroots. I mean, there's something that you could put me in the White House on, but I'll gladly do it. I'll gladly trade all the stuff that I'm doing now to to go right into working on the White House. Bear with me just a moment. Give me just 1 second. And I'm back. I'm sorry, I was having a little bit of technical difficulties. And we're back. It's a little crazy around here sometimes. I leave work to come straight here and get online, and I have to take care of my pretty little animals and everything. And so we're going to go right straight to the news today. Let's start with a little happy news. Let's start something that's not Scaramucci. Okay, well, I was going to say, we're going to talk about Scaramucci today. We're going to talk about Russia. We're going to talk about North Korea. We're going to be talking about, right now, we're going to be talking about the Golden Girls. Remember the Golden Girls? Okay, so I read this today. And so, of course, on a liberal website, it's called LGBTQ Nation. They always love to write things about me and other things. So I can't believe everything that they have, but it's a story. So the story is, why is the gay Golden Girls reboot being rejected by all the networks? And this is written by Bill Browning. It came out today. And it says, as we know, B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Betty White, and the Golden Girls, and Sophia were in the Golden Girls. Everybody who, before they started having a lot of DPR and stuff, people were watching a lot of Cartoon Network and Nick at Night and stuff like that. Well, Golden Girls reruns or Golden Girl marathons are a staple, especially the gays. Especially the gays love Golden Girls. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever. Golden Girls is hilarious. It never gets old. You can watch the episodes over and over and over again, and they're wonderful. So what was going on is the Golden Girls writer, Stan Zimmerman, talked to Fox News about, bear with me, the link just dropped, of course. I'm on a couple of computers today. I'm having a little bit of issues with these things. They love to drop on the most inopportune times. Bear with me just a moment. So, yeah, the Golden Girls. Everybody likes to watch the Golden Girls. And Betty White's still alive. God bless her. We hope to get so many more years. Tell you a little bit about Betty White. Betty White is so old. She came around before sliced bread. So you know how people say the old saying, best thing since sliced bread? Well, when it comes to Betty White, sliced bread was the best thing since Betty White. And so, wish I could meet her one day. She's a wonderful lady. So, Golden Girls writer Stan Zimmerman talked to Fox News about the reboot, the quote, reboot of the classic show, and shared some stunning news. The pilot isn't being considered by any network. Any network. You would think, well, the gays and everybody's happy and super excited, there would be somebody trying to get the Golden Girls gay version. I'm kind of giddy about it. It says, while the show isn't technically a reboot of the classic sitcom, and I've been saying they should do it a long time ago, Zimmerman says it was, quote, inspired by the show. This time around Silver Foxes, and would feature 4 older gay men living together in Palm Springs. Unfortunately, we cannot get one network executive to read it, Zimmerman said, or even a producer to pass it to them. We have found ageism, and here's where they put the liberal spin. We have found ageism and homophobia alive and well in Hollywood. Gasp Hollywood, the liberal Hollywood they always talk about, where it's all open for everybody, but apparently in Hollywood, they're now actually saying they're anti-gay and they're ageism. I mean, Wow. Let's see. Hopefully, a groundswell of support from the viewing public will get an outlet like Hulu or Amazon to make it. Don't mention of Netflix. I wonder why they don't want to mention Netflix. I'll take it on any network, people. I mean, heck, put it on CBS. I mean, from some of the programming they have on there, a gay girl, Golden Girl would be actually pretty cool. So, keeping with the story, it says a private reading of the first script written by Zimmerman and fellow Golden Girls alumni James Berg had some heavy hitters taking a look. Oh my. George Takei, Leslie Jordan, Bruce Valanche, and Todd Sherry played the four major roles, while Daniel Gather and former Saturday Night Live cast member Sherry O'Terry stepped in as the power lesbian couple neighbors. So Zimmerman also included a one-line cameo for Betty White, the only surviving star from the original Golden Girls. Quote, "Our fingers are crossed," he said. And ours too. That's what they said. So, that was a pretty cool article, lighthearted article, but we're gonna get deep down into the nitty-gritty here. So, all right, so here we go, guys. Let's talk about North Korea. North Korea, folks. So I don't know if you noticed, last week they've been talking all about transgenders, this transgender in the army, arguing and fussing about it going on. And frankly, y'all seen some of my views, and some of them is comical, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer when it comes to the transgenders in the military, but I kind of feel like that maybe we shouldn't mess with who was already in there. If they've passed the tests and they are able to do what's needed, then maybe some people can be grandfathered in. But if they become a burden, kick them out. There's something you can do. When it comes down to the Army, you are supposed to be one. You're supposed to be one in the Army. You're not supposed to have your own issues. You're supposed to be able to look after your team. You're supposed to be able to work with each other. But transgender people, they have hormone things. They have, and I'm not going to go as far as saying that they have a mental problem, because people always try to lump them as mental problem. And I hate to do that, because a long time ago, or more recently, who knows, they tried to consider being gay or homosexual a mental problem. So they do have, I think, gender dysphobia, I think they call it. A lot of them actually want to have the surgery where you basically rip your penis off and turn it inside out and turn it into a vagina, which is kind of drastic. You have suicidal problems, and that's one argument. Even Lady Gaga made that argument, and they actually argued against transgenders in the Army because it's a stressful environment. So suicidal people in the Army with guns probably wouldn't be the best, especially if there's people making fun of them. Or friendly fire or unfriendly fire in this case. So at the end of the day, I don't know about the whole Trump tweet about him completely getting rid of transgenders in the Army, or he basically said, I think that was kind of a way, because they were saying that we were going to have to pay for their elective surgery. Well, I'm sorry, but that elective surgery is no different than getting like a boob job or hell, a penis enlargement. It's a add-on. It's if it's I always make the joke, if it's a woman, she's getting an addictomy, and it's not a life-saving issue. We have veterans out there that are on the streets here begging for money. We have veterans like my parents who can't get the major funding that's needed for more the better diabetes drugs. But you've got transgenders asking for and you've got transgenders asking to so you've got basically transgenders asking to be put on pretty much to have surgery. But in that case, I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, you're going to get transgender to have surgery. It makes no sense. Bear with me 1 second, folks. I want to see if we can get somebody on the line here to talk about it with me. Bear with me just one moment. Let me set this up. In the meantime, I'm going to play our little theme music, and I will be right back. Hi, I'm on live. That's my show. I'm on live. Would you like to speak about transgenders live? I can turn on the speakerphone. Oh, hard topic, right? Hey, did I say the show was nice? You can talk for a little bit. Sure, let the music play out here in just a moment. Actually, I'm gonna lower the music here and go right back in. All right, folks, we're back. All right, so I've got someone on here live. She's going to talk about the transgender issue with us, and bear with us because it's not going to be so friendly. But nobody ever said our show was friendly. So hey, Victoria, you're on the line.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, we're doing well. We're talking about the transgender issue. How do you feel? I always say there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to the transgenders in the military, but we were talking about the elective surgery. So this kind of leads in.
Well, yeah, there is no real answer. There's no true answer. There's no right or wrong. But many people have issues with different types of things that you can't have. You can't have flat feet if you go in. You can't be allergic to bees and join the military because it puts you or people around you in harm's way should you get stung by a bee. And if you're a transgender and you're taking hormonal medication and you don't have access to it, you could potentially have a problem. And as far as the transgender surgery goes, that's technically an elective surgery. And if you claim that you're going to kill yourself or you're going to have some mental breakdown because you don't have your transgender surgery, that's admitting you have a mental problem. And you cannot have a known mental problem and be in the military. And elective surgeries, I was in the military, I was in the Army for 8 years, and I couldn't go get a boob job and have the Army pay for it, even if I was a little bit overweight and not meeting my weight standards.
Well, you mean that you couldn't tell them that you envision yourself as a woman with bigger breasts, and that's what you feel like you want to be, an uber woman?
No, yeah, you can't claim that and say, well, that's what's going to make me healthy and mentally healthy and fit, and if you give me new boobs, or we have to pass a weight standard, and we have to be able to do our physical fitness PT, and you have to take a PT test, and if you're overweight, it makes it harder to pass your PT test, and you don't get to go say, well, I got to go have liposuction to get me skinny so that I can be physically fit and pass my weight. So why should we be paying for people to have transgender surgeries when it technically is an elective surgery? You're choosing not to be the sex you were born at. And whether it is in your head or it's a mental thing or not, but if you're going to claim that, hey, you're going to have mental problems, Lady Gaga posted that you just singled out 45% of the people that you singled out commit suicide in that age bracket, and that was exactly, committing suicide is a sign of a mental distress, mental disorder, mental problem of some sort.
Yeah, that was a heavy topic. I tweeted after Trump, and somebody right after me, they went back and forth. I swear, like 200 messages about the suicidal rates, and I just stayed out of it. I was like, yeah, well, anybody suicidal with guns and somebody ticks them off, it's not a good idea, and we can't claim terrorism on that one.
No, and the thing is you can't. You have people who are going to claim, well, I'm going to go kill myself because people are not nice to me because I'm transgender or because I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. Well, that's a sign of mental disorder, and you should not be in the military if you have any kind of a sign of a mental disorder. If you're diagnosed with depression, there's an unfortunate side to that, though, as well, because even people who are in the military have served, like in Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, they have PTSD, and if they go and say that they have a mental disorder, depression, or PTSD, they can be removed from the military for having those problems. So, of course, it does open the problem of people not even admitting that they have a problem. I don't know that they should.
I think you might have a lot of people serving in the military who, especially probably the women, who are probably more. I think it always says this: women have a little bit easier trying to be more manly than it would be for a man trying to look like a woman. So I think sort of like the transgender way, you're probably going to see a lot of men trying to be women that are probably going to be asked out, and I think you're going to see a disproportionate amount of women who are going to be, because I would actually truthfully say, and not saying for you, but I say a lot of the women in the military are more than likely who join the military probably because they are in more of the butchier side, and they're going to be more. They're going to probably have less of the women hormone and probably more of the testosterone just because of the working out.
Well, I'm a prime example of that. I'm a heterosexual, straight female, and the whole time I was in the military, I worked in a position where I was very tough, very strong. I worked out. I could bench press probably 250, 300 pounds. I was a beast, and literally everyone thought I was gay. No one thought I was straight.
Yeah, I think it might be an issue where people are when people try to put masculinity or strength in with somebody being more male or female, because there are males out there, gay males out there that are feminine, but they don't want to be women. They just happen to be more feminine in the ways that they are. They're weaker, but that doesn't make them women. That just makes them sort of like if anything, that kind of can see where people say extra genders, but I would still say they're still a male. They're just more of a female. Back when I was growing up, we had butch queens and femme males, and that's how we kind of associated it. But we didn't say that there were different genders. It's like, you're a male, or you're a sissy male. It just gets confusing.
Well, I personally think yes, there are definitely people who are transgender. In fact, I did serve in the military with somebody who was transgender, and of course, it was during the time that it was don't ask, don't tell, so we weren't even allowed to say anything. And if you caught him or recognized it, you were required to turn it in. And he was a really nice guy, but he was definitely a hazard. He was, and I will admit that. I mean, we were on attack helicopters, and he quite often tried to make his uniform even look feminine by, not tucking in his shoelaces correctly, which can cause you a tripping hazard. He would try to get away with wearing long nails, which, I personally had issues with having nails on occasion, and it being a hazard.
So would you say that everybody who's a male who wants to be a female, they should stick them in the Navy?
Yeah, there is something that they say about that, just joking when you're in the military. But at the same time, I think that there might be a place for transgenders, but I think that much like we had a hard time learning how to transition to having women in main roles, there's going to be some transition time if we can even get to a point of accepting transgenders in the military. Perhaps then they need to be more in a support role until we can get a hang on it. And to be honest with you, that's why if I'm in the military and I want to get a boob job, I got to save up the money and pay for it myself. So if you want to get a transgender surgery and you can be in the military at some point, then you need to save up your money and do it yourself. You know, if that's what your goal is and that's what you want. You know, I want a motorcycle, so I'm saving my money so that I can buy a motorcycle, you know, and it's not the government's job to pay for me to get what I want. If you want it bad enough, you're going to save, you're going to go after it and get what you want.
Yeah, I think it's kind of irritating that we have people getting elective surgeries, but we have veterans out there on the streets that are begging for money, and homeless people and parents like my dad who can't afford the diabetes medicine that he really needs. He has to take the old diabetic stuff. He really needs like the regulator pump, but they won't give it to him. But they talk about all the transgender surgeries would only cost like $8 million, and they spend more on erectile dysfunction pills. And I'm like, well, if it's something that's not really needed, I'm sorry, but erectile dysfunction is, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's a life-saving thing.
I'm gonna break in there, and I've heard that argument many a time that they pay for the erectile dysfunction medications or Medicare and whatnot. But I want to clarify a couple of things. First of all, Medicare does not cover anybody in the military at all. Medicare is not paid for military personnel. TRICARE is what military insurance is. It's called TRICARE. It's not called Medicare. And they don't cover those kind of things. They don't cover elective surgeries. They don't cover any of that stuff. And I know because I was in the military. And for the most part, Medicare, which does pay for those kind of medications, are not a military insurance. So they don't pay for the same thing, and when you're crossing something like Medicare and using that as an example that they pay for erectile dysfunction, Medicare is only for two types of people. You're either on Medicare because you're on an unemployment or low employment and you qualify for it as an underprivileged person, or you're an older person and you qualify because you're elderly. So Medicare does not cover anybody in the military getting any kind of erectile dysfunction medication because that's not what it's.
So it's another one of those. It's another one of those liberal kind of facts that somebody made it up pretty much, and then everybody kind of ran with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you go and say, well, they pay for this with Medicare. Well, that's fine and dandy. You can go after Medicare and get Medicare to pay for all the old people that are over 65 who would like to have a transgender surgery, and go after Medicare for all the people who are on unemployment or welfare who want to get transgender surgery, and put them in that group because that's who pays for Medicare and what Medicare is for. Medicare is not for military personnel at all, and we're going after TRICARE as far as TRICARE, and TRICARE is an approved medical insurance for the military by Congress. And if they went and said that if you're going to be in, we have to give them the ability to get the surgery, well then how come you can't get a boob job? Because it's elective surgery just the same. I may feel extremely uncomfortable in my own skin because my boobs don't look as good as her boobs. So mentally I have issues with that, so I should be allowed to get a boob job so that I feel better about myself. Is that where we're at? I thought the military was to defend our country and defend our freedom and defend our democracy, not for getting boob jobs and disc replacements, or, sorry, I'm probably not supposed to say that, but, that's not what it's for. The military is to defend our democracy and defend our freedom. It's not for you to feel and what's best for our country, not what I need to have an operation. That's not what it's for.
Definitely. Well, I think, seeing online right now, let's see. Let's see. I got Fox News on. They're still talking about Westerman Schultz, but for some reason they had a rainbow flag behind her. I don't know where they were getting that one from. But yeah, they throw so much. The liberal LGBT media throws so many lies out there. Though I did read a story just recently about the gay Golden Girls. They tried to throw in that little liberalism. They actually said in that article that Hollywood was homophobic and had ageism. Liberal Hollywood. I had to laugh on that one.
Well, the thing is that, I guess there probably is some issues with age. I mean, sometimes it's harder to get a job if you're in Hollywood if you're, have age issues. You don't get the jobs you once got before. Same thing with if you go in for a screening to be on a movie and the character that they're imagining has big boobs, you probably won't get the job for that either. But that doesn't mean that anybody thinks one person is better than another. But we're also talking about movies where people are acting and they're portraying a part and they're portraying something. We're not talking about somebody who is standing a watch with a weapon that is supposed to keep our country and our citizens safe from tyranny or terrorism or anything else. We're talking about apples to oranges. And, I think our freedom should not be dictated and our safety and security of this country should not be dictated to 0.03% of the population. And, it took years and years for the military to get used to women in non-support roles. And what I mean by that is women in roles where they were not just in an office somewhere typing out paperwork. They were actually doing the work and working hard and being in the mix in the mud with the boys. And it took years and years for that. I went through quite a bit of sexism when I was in the military because of the position that I was in. And I chose to do everything that I ever did when I was in the military on a male standard. I did not take the girls. I did not do female push-ups. I did not take the female time limits. I made sure that I did everything and met the male standards because I was working in a much more male role, and I was able to do it. And by doing that, I did gain the respect of my fellow soldiers because I was on the same level as them. In fact, I was usually better than them. I usually got higher scores than them. I usually outmoved them, outmaneuvered them, and I had no choice at some point in time for them to start realizing that I was somebody to be reckoned with, and they gave me the respect I deserved. But
and
it did not come at an ease.
Well, I'll tell you folks, I'm going to vouch for her because, I might trigger the liberal a little bit, but you know what? I can say it because I want to say it because I can say it. Victoria is definitely a fag hag. One of those ones that's going to watch out for me if we were out in public. So I used to have a friend that was, she was a big one and we knew the club, whatever. And, man, I just got behind her. She would just push everybody out of the way. We didn't have to worry about getting anywhere. She was like, get out of my way. It's like having a personal bouncer.
Yeah. And I carry a gun and I train with my weapons and I tell people, all the time that if you're going to do something, the first thing you should do is get training. If you're going to carry a gun, learn how to use one. If you're going to do something dangerous, the first thing you should do, especially if you're female, go get some martial arts training or learn how to defend yourself, don't put yourself in harm's way. without being able to defend yourself. And if you don't want to carry a gun, that's fine. Just take a self-defense class.
Yeah, I think they need to teach people before they go out and buy mace and stuff, because people end up macing themselves. I remember when we did the March for Trump, first thing I was telling people, before you pull out that mace, keep it in your pocket, because I don't feel like getting maced today. It's like...
Well, I was former law enforcement too, and let me tell you, I've had many people ask me, well, why don't you just carry mace instead of a gun, or you carry your gun in your car? And sometimes I do carry my gun in my car, but it's only if I'm going to be out of my car. I don't personally think that, the car is necessarily the safest place for you to use a weapon. But at the same time, they say, well, then just use mace. And I just said, well, if you've never been maced before, maybe you should go mace yourself and find out what it feels like.
I don't want to see that. I've seen the videos. I definitely don't want it happening to me. There's no way.
I had it happen. And let me tell you something. When you get maced, it's not a comfortable feeling, first of all. But second of all, if you put yourself in a harm's way type of position and, something happens, say somebody jumps in your car and you're getting carjacked and you think you're going to pull out mace and you're going to mace that person and you're going to save your own ass from doing that, what you're probably going to do is mace yourself, and they're probably on drugs. They're probably doing something that's, going to hinder their ability to be taken out. And if that's the case, you just mace yourself, and you make yourself more vulnerable to the people that are now attacking you. So you might want to think about that before you go doing something stupid like macing yourself. And
I think if I got a taser or something, somebody'd probably grab it from me and tase me. And I tell you the truth, people are gonna think it's funny, but I'm more afraid of knives than I'm afraid of guns. Because gun's pretty clean and get you. A knife, oh man, somebody's gonna sit there and stab you like 100 times. That's gonna hurt.
I'll tell you a quick funny story. Back in February, I was literally attacked in my car. 2 men jumped in my car, and
usually that's a good thing.
Yeah, except for they jumped in my car. I don't think with good intentions. I did not, raise my hands and scream and cry and say, do whatever you want, take whatever you want. I immediately put the guy in a handlock, and anybody who's law enforcement knows what I'm talking about. And I twisted his hand so bad that he couldn't move, and he was crying for help. After a second, his friend hid in the back seat and wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And I took him out and got him out of my car, and law enforcement came. He was on drugs, and it took 6 police officers and a dog to take him down.
Wow.
And I didn't have mace. I didn't have a gun in my car. All I had is my skills of self-defense. And if I didn't have that, who knows what would have happened? Who knows what would have happened if it was somebody else that got assaulted? But the bottom line is, he's facing like 4 years in prison now, and he assaulted a police officer as well during the chase after he got out of my car. But the bottom line, what I'm trying to get at is, I have some training, and I use those skills and abilities to save myself. And that's why I tell women all the time that the first thing you should do is take a self-defense class, learn how to defend yourself. And I know this is off the transgender issue, but it goes right along with that issue in a sense, because if you're being bullied for being transgender, maybe you too should be getting some kind of support and taking some self-defense and learning how to defend yourself. And I'm not so sure that at this point in time, the military is the best place for people who are really, really coming to their own as transgender.
Yeah, we was going into it. We've got a story here, and I know it came out a couple of days, and I know about North Korea, on the 28th, they fired another powerful ballistic missile on last Friday, demonstrating new capabilities, which I'm actually thinking that they're somehow getting the funding. It's kind of funneled through Iran. Thank you, Obama, for that. And Kim Jong-un basically now shot one that can actually hit the West Coast in Hawaii and Alaska and possibly Chicago. And here we are, we're debating transgenders in the military when we have this little this guy is a threat over there, and we have to get our military in shape. We've got a rock and a hard place going on trying to figure out what to do, because we want to save as many lives over there in South Korea and everything, but at the same time, this guy's getting super powerful. We're going to have to take him out, and we don't have time to mess around with transgenders in the military and bullcrap about Russia, you know.
Well, I have a feeling that, you know, right now, trying to learn how to handle a transgender situation in the military, when our military is at the weakest it's ever been in history, and we have the least amount of people that are in the military. We are trying to beef up our forces thanks to Donald Trump, and now we have to debate whether or not they can come in because they want or don't want to keep their penis, or they want or don't want to keep their vagina, you know. And you talk about, I mean, I was in the barracks. I was a female. There was male and female recruits when I went through boot camp, but for basic training. Sorry, my son, my husband are Marines, so that's boot camp. But when we went in, you know, you got 30 women in taking a shower, and 30 women trying to get quickly showered, dressed, in their clothes, in their uniforms, and now you want to tell me that I have to be comfortable with 30 women in a shower, which sometimes, if you've never been put in that situation, is awkward to begin with. So now you want to throw in a man who has a male genitalia and tell me that I have to be accepting of it because he says he's a girl.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I got something, you know, people, this is satire, folks, but, you know, a little drastic. It's like, you want to have something that might be a little free. So we get them we get all these men that want to become women. We get them a nice, fully armored, bulletproof outfit, and we have them stick their genitals out the hole, and then we have them go test for IDEs. So first one they find, there's the surgery. Completely free, dual purpose.
And I know there are situations, I mean, there were situations in prisons where some inmates have been so adamantly about, I want to not be the sex that I am, and that they have literally cut themselves off in their jail cell in order to remove it, and force the penal institution, which is an interesting name, but force the penal institution into giving them sex change because they've now cut it off. In fact, there was a story about that years ago in the mid-90s in Arizona State Prison, and one of the inmates cut it off and flushed it down the toilet.
Oh, well, definitely ain't finding that one.
They had no choice but to, you know, give him some kind of surgery.
Now, you can imagine working at the waste treatment plant, and then that one rises up to the surface.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that to me is a sign of some kind of mental distress.
Yeah, that is definitely a mental disorder.
Exactly.
And then they somehow lump us in that. People like, you know, oh, you should be standing with your transgender brothers and sisters. And I'm like, you know what? I don't identify with that. I'm sorry. That's completely insane. I mean, there's a difference between people who want to look like women and kind of live like women. I mean, like, I love RuPaul. I love watching the drag queens. Somebody actually mentioned on, and I retweeted it. I was like, how come the drag queens don't have their own letter in the LGBTQ? Because they're more of the gay community than transgenders ever will be. And I was like, well, that actually makes sense. Though I think that RuPaul actually considers herself a transgender in a sect, because there tends to be now, because they get things even more confused with the genders and everything. There's people that are transgender, I guess, who don't want the sex change, but they still want to look like women. And I thought that was called transvestites. I thought there was something completely different for that, where you don't mind having the male parts, but you want to live as a woman. We've had friends like that. Long time ago, we had a friend, and she was living as a female. She actually got a job. She was posing completely as a female and got a job with the government as a female. I don't know how she got away with it, but she was living as a female and definitely a male. I mean, but she was working with the post.
There was a song like that in the 80s called Listen Buddy with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to get at is if you have such a desire to do that, I think there's much better places for you than the military. You know, there are much better places where it would be widely accepted, and perhaps your health insurance that you get from that company you work for may provide cosmetic surgery. Who knows? But I think it should be still considered at this point an elective surgery, and it is a surgery necessary because of mental health, mental distress, then you're admitting to having a mental disorder of some sort that you are willing to sacrifice or harm yourself or whatever in order to become what you were not born as. And I do think that, you know, there's just possibly better places for you, and I don't know. And there, I have a very wondering suspicion as to whether or not there are really truly even any transgenders who are the ones that are actually fighting for this equality in the military. If there really are any that are, I mean, there might be one or two, but I bet.
Yeah, most of it come out to speak about it are ones who already left the military, or there's a few women, and I understand the women part, and I think they could get away with it because, again, it goes with the strength, and the women are taking the stuff to be more stronger. But you know, when it comes to a guy trying to be a woman, I just think that when you change their hormones and stuff, that's going to make them an ineffective soldier. And they need to get past that part. And then if they want to get past it, have their surgery, get recovered, then come back. Though I think that the whole tweet maybe went a little too far when it came to completely out of the military service. But I think it was like the art of the deal kind of thing, because they were saying we were going to have to pay for it. They said they were going to have to pay for it. Yet, unfortunately, there was no way we're going to pay for it, you know. And so the deal was, okay, I guess nobody's going to be in there, you know. And it was said that Trump probably had to make a decision because there was a spending bill out there, and it was paying for the border wall, and we had the possibility of losing it if they didn't do anything about the transgender issue. And, you know, I know some people might feel like they got thrown under the bus, but, you know, we're talking about 0.03% of the population compared to a border wall that we absolutely positively need. So I'm sorry. There's not that many transgenders in the military that I think it warrants, you know, dropping everything, you know, and in this case, it's for the better good.
Well, I think it comes down to, the reality is, it comes down to national security. And does this really warrant national security? Does getting a sex change operation really have anything to do with the safety and security of our nation, our national defense? Does that have something to do with having a sex change? And what if we have people that are already in the military or going in the military? And again, I'll go back to, you know, females in a barracks. You know, you got 30 to 45 females in one barracks, and you have a male. Are you telling me that those 30 to 40, 29 to 44 other people have less rights than that one person who is transgender to make everyone else feel uncomfortable, and that they should accept him and open arms and say, well, he's transgender, so it's okay for him to be in my shower, in my barracks, that I have to sleep with him next to me. And, you know, there are some women that are, and I don't know, I mean, there are predators in this world, and predators seek out solutions. And what if now we're opening a door for predators misuse
It's a possibility.
the terminology of being I'm trans, and they're not at all, but they're just predators, and they're going to use this as a means. And I'm sure the likelihood of that is probably just as slim,
just as slim
as the number of
now,
transgenders.
We had a lesbian who met us at CPAC this last year, and she, she was talking about how the trans agenda, they've got a lot of money. The trans agenda is actually killing off the lesbians because the lesbians are afraid to call themselves lesbians. They have to call themselves, like bisexual or something else. They can't be lesbians anymore because, this is going to get confusing. I'm glad I'm just a simple gay male, like I say, a donut with sprinkles. But there are men who identify themselves as females who now are contacting lesbians who are now saying that the lesbians should have sex with them because they identify themselves as women. And then they're upset and mad at the women for not wanting to have sex with the men. And they're guys with penises who think they're women. So it sounds like, I don't know, it's a bit of a quagmire right there.
It really is. And it's really unfair to say, well, we have to cater to this small percentage of the population because God forbid any of them feel uncomfortable. And I'm sorry, but I think that you have to look at the bigger picture. And for me personally, the bigger picture is our national security. And I don't know how you can be comfortable. It's the same reason why it's taken so many years and so many women like myself who had to go above and beyond. I mean, let me tell you, when I was in the military, I had situations where at one particular school that I went to, I had a guy walk over to where I was sitting and literally take my food tray from me, throw it on the floor, and say, "Bitch, if you want to eat, pick it up off the floor like a girl and dust it off and clean it and eat. You're not wanted here." And I did. I mean, I picked up my food off the floor and I walked over where he was sitting and dropped it. And let me tell you something. I got a huge amount of respect when I did that because everybody was like, "Holy shit, I can't believe she had the balls to do that to another dude," because there was only 5 females in my entire class, in my entire schooling that I went to for that. But that's not the point. The point is you have lots of people who are going to bully you. They're going to attack you, and how are you going to handle it? I handled it by making him look like a fool. I handled it by being better than him, tougher than him, harder than him. I did everything on a male standard because I worked harder to be at the same level as a male. And yeah, I agree. I shouldn't have had to work twice as hard. Anybody ever seen that movie G.I. Jane? That's no fucking joke. If you're in the military and you're a female and you're in a male-dominated position, a male-dominated role, you do have to be just as badass, just as tough as that bitch was. And I know because I've lived it. And I may not be as tough now, and it may not be as thin, I may not be as fit, but, I've also been out since 2004. So, but let me tell you something. It is a hard road to hoe when you have to battle your sex in a male-dominated field, and now you want to go and you want to put our nation at risk because somebody wants to go into a male-dominated field that's a male that wants to be a female that isn't sure if they really are. What? Now you're talking about a major, you got harassment issues, and you cannot keep people. Human nature, you cannot keep people. I mean, we've been doing the anti-cyberbullying in schools for, 2 decades now, and they're still bullying in school. Cyberbullying is at the highest it's ever been. I mean, how are we going to keep people from harassing, bullying, harming, or what if you take and you push somebody beyond their limits and another male or female, let's say, is in that shower and she just finally talking, and she's like, really? You want to not have a penis? How about I'll help you? I'll help you out.
Well,
yeah, this woman's going to go to the brig. She's going to go to jail. And now you have a guy who has been harmed because she felt threatened, and she took it upon herself to handle it. You know, I mean, we cannot guarantee their safety. We cannot guarantee their privacy. We cannot guarantee any female's privacy. That's been one of the biggest issues with females on submarines, females on ships. You know, I mean, it's taken so many decades to get to a point where we have females on ships and we have females that are in commanding roles that are doing jobs that, you know, they are very well capable of doing. However, you have to also get to an accepting point of view. And, you know, and then you also have to take into account, let's just say you're on a battlefield somewhere and, you know, you're in harm's way, literally in harm's way. And, you know, you forced yourself to be there. The other people don't want you there. Nobody harmed you. Nobody has any intentions of harming you. But you don't think you're going to be the one that they throw under the bus when shit hits the fan and you guys might be in jeopardy? You know, you think that they're going to really, really 100% stand by their other fellow soldiers?
Definitely. With that, it's actually getting to the end of the hour, and I'm going to have to call us for a stage and identification, and I thank you for calling in, Victoria. I hope you call in again soon. And I'm actually going to have Jovi Val. He's going to call in just a little while after the top of the hour.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, folks, that was Victoria. We worked together a lot, and I'm definitely interested in everything she has to say, and it's a very touchy subject. But we're going to go call us for a station identification. We thank you for calling in, and we thank you for listening to MAGA One Radio with Peter Boykin on MAGA First News, and we'll be back with Jovi Val. Back here in just a moment, folks. Hey, I'm doing good. I'll have you on here just a moment. On a little dead air. Awful glitch. Right when I was trying to play the music, I think it got the song. I think it got the me talking, but it wasn't screaming properly. Yeah, talk about whatever you want. We were talking about transgenders. Like, if you want to say something, that's fine. You can skip right past it if you want to. Last week they kept me busy with the transgenders. Come on, Chomp, give me a heads up. Yeah, Scaramucci, we talked about it a little bit, you know, it's, to tell you the truth, Scaramucci took office, Trump's friend, and, basically he went crazy. Like, he's supposed to be communications director, and here you are, Scaramucci, communications director, and he is, like, tweeting stuff and being crazier than Donald Trump is when Donald Trump goes a little crazy. And he started going into drunken tweets and calling people schizophrenic and F-bombs and all sorts of things. So Trump's like, bye-bye. Like sort of like their week at their friends. Oh yeah, definitely one Trump. But Scaramucci did a great job while he was there, and that's what counts. Definitely. I'd love to get a job with him. You know, I'll tone down mine. I'll just keep my head down and do my work. All right, we're about to go live here in just a moment. Yes, America is great. Thank you for tuning in to MAGA First News with Peter Boykin here on MAGA One Radio. Sorry for the little long pause there. We still have a little technical difficulty sometime. And if you see us on live on Facebook, we've got a good little amount of people up there. We have Jovi, who is, give you a little bit of setup for him. A couple weeks ago when the Milo event was going on here in New York, he was signing books and everything. Jovi actually got punched pretty bad, and it wasn't a Hawaiian punch. So he can tell you a little bit about it. Jovi, thanks for calling in.
Hey, what's going on? I like that Hawaiian punch.
Yeah, that was a nice Hawaiian punch. Oh, no. Right? So, yeah, tell us, I'm sure you've said it multiple times, multiple shows, but kind of give me the idea of what happened, really.
Okay, so I'm just hanging out with my friends at the bar right after Milo's signing. We're just at, an after party, and then we're just hanging out in the bar. We're dancing. They're drinking. I'm just drinking water most of the time because I'm just dancing, you know. I needed water, you know. So we're just having a great time. We're dancing to all this music, you know. And what's it called? It's a shame. Like, this couple comes in, and they're just, you know, they're looking at my hat, and I can already tell, like, yeah, this is not good. You know? And then it's like, I like to give it the benefit. You know, I like to give the benefit of the doubt. To say, like, you know, they might be upset at the hat. What are they gonna do? You know, they were all having a good time, and they were dancing too. So I was like, yeah, everybody's having a good time. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's dancing. Everybody's just clapping. Having a beautiful time. And then my hat falls off my head. And that's when all hell broke loose. And I looked down to the floor, and what do I see? The girl stomping on my hat. Repeatedly, just stomping on it.
It's a hate crime right there.
Exactly. And, you know, and you're trying to destroy my private property, which is like $30 right there, you know.
Yeah, those hats aren't cheap. It costs me about 30 something when I make them. I get them made custom.
Nice, you know. And I'm just like disgusted about what I'm saying because you're having such a great time, and you're thinking they're having a great time, but they're not. They're like plotting to like destroy your night. And it was just like, are you kidding me? You know? And then out of nowhere, it's like they're hitting us. No, I'm sorry. They're like, you know, they're stopping on it, and then I'm like, I can't take this. Like, I have my hat stolen from me before. I had my hat vandalized almost, and it's just like I don't want to deal with it. So I look at her, right, and I didn't hit her or anything like that, but I put my hand right in front of her, and I go, "What are you doing?" Like, I put my whole arm in front of her, like diagonally. What are you doing? You know? And then she's like, I hate the hat, and I hate you. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm not here for this, okay? And I just moved her out the way. I didn't, like, throw her or anything, but I moved her back, like, so I could get my hat. And then I went to go pick it up and stuff, and the guy sees me, like, basically put my hands on her. Not to, like, hit her or anything like that, just, like, push her away. And, you know, he just like hits me right in my face. He breaks my nose, and then I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then like he sliced me in my face. He did this really fast. He punches me in my nose, slices me in my face. I don't know why I got sliced in the face because it happened so fast. You know, I'm like charging at him, and I'm like making sure that I take him down, and I couldn't because I broke his nose. But then right after that, she hits me in the back of the head with a glass bottle.
Oh crap.
So whatever he cut me with must have been glass because what she cut me with was glass. And like just a few days ago, I removed glass from my lip that was there since the 7th.
Yeah, luckily glass works out. I think wood works in, but it can be working out for a long time. I mean, little slivers.
Man. It's probably more, right?
Oh yeah, my mom's mom a long time ago, before windshields were better, she got in a car accident and she had glass still coming out of her for years.
Oh God!
But that's back then, you know. You probably get a little bit more, probably less slivers than anything.
Yeah.
So where was nobody else was there to help you? Like.
There were some PBs and everything.
Yeah.
There were PBs and everything there, you know, Proud Boys, and they didn't know what was going on. It's like my friend said, the flags of battle. You know, like nobody knows what the hell's going on.
Yeah, kind of. Not by the time you see it, it's like kind of already over. It's like, what just happened?
Yeah, game over, you know. But after I got hit with that bottle, I was still standing. And I wanted to turn around and just grab her for hitting me in the head with a bottle. But it's just like, I took too many hits, and then I was like, I gotta go down. Maybe they'll stop hitting me. I was wrong. And they started stopping me repeatedly, just like they stopped the hat, just like she stopped the hat.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, like these people don't care about you. You know, they just want to kill you.
Yeah, these are the same people that are talking about how we're Nazis and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Stay out of their personal space, and they want to get in our personal space, and they want safe spaces, but they're just violence. Just violence. There's one reason why, you know, everybody's like, hey, you should come over here and have a rally in New York. And I'm like, hell no. I was like, not for right now. I was like, I'm going to have to work out and stuff, you know. Because I don't want to get in a fight, you know. As much press I probably would get out of it, I don't want the press because of that. I want the press because of the event that I do. There was no way in heck I'm going to New York.
What do you think I did yesterday? I went out there, I did the Scars and Stripes rally. It was like 50 of us there, but hey, we had a great time. We were waving the American flag,
Nice.
Trump flag, we were taking pictures, we were taking video. We were doing so many great things, man. I'm telling you, like, this is how you make America great again. When you go to one of these liberal cities and you're like thinking, like you said, you don't want to go out there, you're going to get killed. But then you don't get killed, and you're like, wow, it was a great experience. You definitely have to do this again, you know? And it's like,
It's a rush.
I want to reach out to those kids that are walking by and their parents hear us shouting USA and chanting, you know, make America great again. And next thing you know, they're just like grabbing their kids and holding their ears, like, oh my God. Like, you know, and it's pathetic, you know.
Yet they'll take them to the Women's March and wear those little pink hats, which we had no clue what those pink hats were. When we were actually walking, me and my husband, we walked against the crowd thousands and thousands of people in the Women's March, and we were walking with our Trump hats, and I had my rainbow flag, and they were looking at me funny, and I'm like, I think it confuses them enough. It's like a deflector shield, nobody's gonna fight me, and nobody's gonna try to punch me because I've got a rainbow flag, and I think some people think I'm doing it out of parody, I've had, I'm like, no, and that we actually found, Trump supporters and women who felt like they could get in harm at the women's rally, who came and flocked to us and actually walked with us, and we protected them because it was like, just come follow us because we'll make sure you're okay. And we walked them to their car and everything. And it's kind of funny because later on down the line, gobs and gobs of people in Washington D.C. And then later on down the line, I think
you went to D.C.?
Yeah, this was in D.C. Their inauguration, and it was funny. I think it was like later on down the line, I ended up somehow talking to the people online, or I don't know. We ended up talking to them again, and it turned out to be the same people we had ran into at the Washington, at the Lincoln Monument. I'm like, wow, it's small, big world at the same time. To actually be talking to them, and it's not like they came looking for us. They actually did not know really who I was, and then they're like, "Hey, I think we know who you are." So yeah, so you've been running around the different circuits with different all sorts of different shows. Yeah.
Like the thing is, like, we got the Kekistani, we got Blue Lives Matter, the Gats, the flags, all these flags, and even we have the rainbow flags,
Yeah, we got the upside down rainbow flag with the T on it. That's it triggers the hell out of people because we go by the upside down flag that Trump, apparently went across the stage with, which I shut them down real quick because I found a really, really old page that said there was no wrong or right way of flying the rainbow flag. And people forget that there's gobs of different pride flags out there. And so then they tell you, oh, he's not doing it right. And I'm like, it technically was an accident. This guy named Max Norwalk, he's the guy who went there. He wrote it really quickly on the flag. He had no clue that Donald Trump was going to take the flag. And he got up there and somebody said, hey, he said, hey, I want to, do you mind if Trump uses the flag? And he's like, sure. He was like, and then all of a sudden Trump's on the stage and he's flying the flag. So, I mean, Trump was looking to do that, on purpose because he wanted to show. I think Trump, and I can understand Trump is probably felt insulted by the LGBT because he did that. He was campaigning, and it wasn't like he was going to get gobs of votes for doing that. I mean, he was more likely to lose a lot of votes for it, which I don't think he actually did. But everybody's griping this year about him not coming forward and kissing their butts, but he literally flew our flag across the stage. No president did that. Did you see Hillary touch the rainbow flag? I've never seen her touch the rainbow flag. I mean, I can give Obama his props. He ran around the White House with the rainbow flag with Joe Biden. That was nice.
I mean, the thing about it is, like, are you doing this because you actually believe this, or are you doing this because, oh wow, this will get great press? There's always all these political stuff, these publicity stunts, and they don't really care. I mean, I call Obama the gay Muslim president because I felt like he focused on the gay community, the Muslim community, more than he focused on other communities. And he didn't focus on them that much either. I mean, running around with a gay flag is knocking out the gay community,
Yeah, it didn't. It piggybacked off of the great works of other people because, like, oh, Obama got us the marriage and stuff. I'm like, Obama didn't get us none of that. I was like, this has been work in progress for many, many years through the W, and Clinton and Reagan and everything. It's been going through the courthouse, and you've got a lot of conservative Republicans who've been working, sitting down across the table and actually trying to get us rights, not screaming in the streets. I don't understand when the LGBT thinks that they're going to go out and twerk and dress in leather and do all sorts of crazy stuff like it's gay Mardi Gras, and then they think somehow we're going to, they think somehow church-going conservative people or whatever are going to somehow want to give equal rights to what they see as degenerates. You know, and I deal with that issue with the alt-right. The alt-right tries to call all gays degenerates, and I'm like, first of all, you got it all wrong. We're not all degenerates, you know. So I wanted to go speak at that, and I know a lot of people are running from it. I wanted to go speak at that Unite the Right rally, which they considered more of an white supremacist or whatever event, and I'm like, not exactly. It's not exactly, you know.
These white supremacists, right? This is one thing. I'm going to tell you something also, because I want you to know my stance on gay marriage and everything, right? Because I got to be honest with you, you know. But let me tell you something about white supremacists. White supremacists, there are white supremacists. I just don't believe in white supremacy. I don't think white supremacy is what controls the
It's just a genetic. It's just one genetic thing that we have.
And it's like these white supremacists are all about preserving the white race. They're not having kids. They're quote unquote mixed racing, and it's just like you're not doing anything to preserve the white race, you know. But you are doing something to preserve America, you know. Just stop waving these flags that have nothing to do with us.
Oh yeah.
The Pakistani flag has more to do with us than the rising sun or whatever flag they
Or it was the Dixie flag, which is not a Southern heritage. It's a battle flag. It's basically a defunct. It's the defunct battle flag. I don't care how pretty the flag looks. I mean, it's actually a pretty flag, but it's the defunct battle flag for a nation that was trying to take over the United States. So it's like it's no different than flying like the Nazi flag, as far as I'm concerned. Because it's not even a Southern heritage thing. I wish they would not fly the Confederate flag. I can understand using it in. I can understand using it in cases of like the statues and stuff. I don't think they should be removing the statues because it's history. And if we lose our history, then we're doomed to repeat ourselves. Yeah, they try to remove everything. Look at ISIS. What are they doing? Going around removing all the good stuff, you know?
Yeah. Now I kind of question who, I don't even want to say it, like, who took down Saddam's statue.
Yeah, I remember that.
These people are for liberating their country, but then we're thinking, wait a minute, what if they just, you know, they're just doing exactly what the Nazis are doing? You think it's great, but it's like, why remove something like that? You know, like it's there. I mean, maybe him, yeah, but it's just like those are like monuments and statues of history. It doesn't matter how dark or light it is; it's still a part of history. Yep. And that Confederate flag was waved probably 4 years, for only 4 years. It was waved in like I think 1861 to 1865 or something like that. And yeah, it's that flag is actually in a courtroom or
it's part of some of the state's flags. Yeah, you know? different
you
things.
See, like whenever they're speaking, and then you see the flag right behind it. But you know, I just don't care about the whole people want.
I think it's the meaning. I think it's the meaning people put behind it. You know?
Don't get me wrong. Like I will hold the Confederate flag because it's not right that you know they support us in the North. You know the Southern, you know, the Southern Pride, they support us in the North, and I want to show my support for the South. Yeah. So when I see friends like mine, like Augustus Invictus, with the Confederate flag, I'm like, yes.
I don't get upset. I don't get upset that they do it. I think it's just really depends on what they're flying it for. Yeah, some people go out and fly it because they really straight up really are racist, you know, and they're doing it. But then some people actually are legit and they actually fly it for a reason, and then it is the Southern heritage part, which is not racist, but it kind of somehow defeats its purpose. It's sometimes. Though I went to Washington D.C. I went to Arlington Cemetery, and I didn't realize at the top of the hill was where Robert E. Lee's mansion is. And I'm thinking, well, you know, you've got a Veterans Memorial here in Washington D.C. and World War II and everything else. I was like, well, you know what? Kind of the answer of if you know they're removing all these statues from all these places, all right, and everybody's trying to figure out what they should do with the statues, and I was like, well, you know what? Why not build a Civil War memorial at Arlington, you know, and take all those Civil War statues that they're trying to get rid of at different places, the government take them and put them at Arlington, you know, cemetery, and actually make a civil, because that's a memorial, right? And celebrate the brothers and sisters on both sides, but bring the memorials and monuments there. What better place than to be at Robert E. Lee's mansion, you know?
Yeah. And, I saw that, and I wanted to go check out the mansion and everything because it's in Arlington. What is it, Virginia?
They're closing it down this month.
No way.
Well, they're going and redoing things. They're having to go in and redo the floors and everything. So they're actually shutting it down this August. They'll be shut down for about a year, I think, as they redo the floors and everything. And it's funny, you go up there and you actually find out that that Robert E. Lee's family, half his family is black. And there's a big thing about the black side of Robert E. Lee's family and everything. It's basically he had stepbrothers and stepsisters were black, who also raised him because I guess somebody definitely was race mixing back then. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody was doing it pretty much.
Of course, and it's like there's just there's people that are not even white that are waving the Confederate flag, and it's just like that's fine, like wave the Confederate flag. It's the rising sun flag. I don't understand. It's like this neo-Nazi.
Yeah, that's the rising sun. Isn't that Japanese flag?
No, I'm saying it wrong. Then it's probably the black sun.
Yeah.
The alt-right viewers will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the alt-right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going and speaking because they consider themselves Unite the Right. And I thought, well, Unite the Right, is what I've been talking about. That all the different sides of the right need to basically get together. We're talking about the alt-right, the alt-light, the new right,
Just like we shouldn't ban Sharia law in this country because there shouldn't even be an idea to begin with.
Well, Sharia law shouldn't even be there. Period. It goes against all normal law, and it doesn't make any sense in other countries. They've allowed a different form of government to somehow form in small pockets of society. I don't understand how that's happened. I read a chart and it talked about and there's nothing wrong against regular Muslims, but they've said that the Muslims have basically invaded the UK because they're like the mayor of like every major city in the UK.
Yeah.
And yet that's done nothing because what have we seen? Terrorist attacks. I mean, people don't understand. Caving to them doesn't help.
When you don't condemn it, you're just as guilty as the ones that caused the attacks.
Definitely.
When you're saying that, what do you expect in these type of cities? Of course, it's going to happen.
Well, they've had the videos, and they've met like so-called moderate Muslims, and they've asked them about gay rights and stuff. And the moderate Muslims think we should die. They actually still feel like we should be the ones getting thrown off buildings and stuff. That meme is correct. The radical Muslims are on top of the building throwing the gays off the building while the moderate Muslims are on the ground watching, I mean, they're not wanting, they do, unfortunately, a lot of the people in that culture, if there's anybody who's not the radicalized or moderate Muslims, I would say that Muslim faith that they have is a watered down version, like a New Testament type version, because you got to look at the Muslim faith as they believe in the Quran, which is sort of like believing wholeheartedly in the Old Testament, where the vengeful God, that eye for the eye, cutting people in half, and and that's what you run into. But I run into a lot of Muslim people that are saying, yeah, they're very peaceful. They're actually not like that, but they're afraid. They're afraid to speak out because if they'll get killed.
When I was in high school, I had friends that were Muslims. They didn't disrespect women. They were very, they were very cool guys. These guys from Yemen, they were my friends growing up. And the thing is, I thought they were Dominican. For some reason, Muslims, Arabics and Dominicans look alike to me. But, and this is the thing about homosexuality with religions. In Christianity, it says homosexuality is an abomination. It goes against creation. Yet, no Christian is tossing them off of rooftops.
Oh no, they're telling they're praying for us. Well, we always my husband interprets that law. Basically says thou shalt not lie with a woman like you'll lie with a man as thou lie with a woman. Otherwise, your blood will be spilleth over. But we always kind of interpret it as the Bible's telling you you can't lie. You can't be with another male and expect the same results you're going to have as a female, because if you don't, sleep with a female, you're not going to have any kids, and then yes, your blood will run over. So we kind of see it as basically a saying going, you need to have straight sex so we can have more kids, because they needed it back then. And then I tell people, I was like, you got to understand the Bible. The Bible was written there in a time where, the Jewish people and everything was basically the ones that wrote the Bible, Gentiles and Jews. And what did you have? You had Roman days and you have Egyptians. Both of them were rampant homosexuals. And both of them treated the Jews and the Gentiles like crap. So you got the people who wrote the book who are going to absolutely write negative homosexual stuff in there because that's their oppressors. It completely makes sense. But there's so many different versions of the Bible and everything, like everybody quotes Leviticus and stuff. And I'm like, that's not even in I'm a Catholic. That's not even in our Bible. Leviticus and all that's not even there.
Well, that's what I wanted to tell you about. Like, look, I'm not for gay marriage. I'm against gay marriage, right? I'm not for it. I don't care if gays are having sex, whatever, like that. It's just marriage to me is between a man and a woman to have kids, of course. I don't even agree with, bless you, I don't even agree with a man and a woman being married and not having kids. I just feel like marriage is something that you would like to start a family, That was that's my
let's see, even the gays don't understand. There is two forms of marriage, quote, marriage. There is marriage in the eyes of the Lord, and then there's marriage in the eyes of the law. And all gays really wanted was marriage in the eyes of the law, so we could have the equal benefits. And and unfortunately, civil unions did not give us the full benefits of so-called marriage by the eyes of the law. And then the way they kept saying marriage, they sold it wrong. Because what happened is the churches got involved and they are thinking marriage, they're thinking the Holy Sacrament, and they're thinking somehow the government's going to force these churches into marrying people. And I got to tell people, look, in the Catholic Church, you got to go through processes, and they don't have to marry straight people. Churches will never get forced. If I wanted to have a religious marriage, I could have had that a long time ago from different churches. That's your religious ceremonies you go through. But I don't think they should ever force a church or anything to get somebody married, But when it comes down to it, marriage should be marriage. There's really no, I don't think there's a difference. I'm saying? Gay marriage, I don't think that doesn't exist. I tell people I didn't get in my gay car. I'll drive a Prius, but I didn't get in a gay car to go to my gay job, to pump my gay gas with my gay dog and my gay, food. So why would you call it gay marriage? It's just marriage by the eyes of the law. And me and my husband have been together, but we never actually went out and got the real marriage per se. We have lots of documents, and we have domestic partner benefits, and we have lots of documents and everything we need signed to take care of things. So we're good, and we might eventually go out and get a physical marriage, but we've been together for 21 years, so
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Even though I'm against gay marriage, if my friend is gay and he's having a wedding, of course I'm gonna go.
Even George Bush went to a gay wedding. Senior.
George Bush, Herbert, yeah.
And Trump. And Trump has too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't care. If you're gonna have your weddings or whatever, I don't care about that. It's just what I grew up with, what I really hold dear to me. I'm upset because there's people that are getting married and they just don't want to have kids. They don't even want to grow a family, and they just want to have a marriage for some reason.
It's kind of becoming an idiocracy. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
All the people who should be having kids aren't having kids, or all the dumb people are having 20 kids.
Yeah, all the married couples are not even having kids. And then all the unmarried couples are kid here, kid there. It's insane.
I had an older couple, and they were telling me that, and they were blaming Obama for it, but they said the laws have actually gotten to the point where it makes it worse for people to be married than to not be married. And they were actually saying they loved each other and everything, but because of they had a couple who the husband had passed away. And because of the laws, all the bills got lumped on her, and she couldn't really afford things because of the way that finances work, out.
Yeah.
So they said that it would actually be better if they actually got a divorce and just lived together as domestic partners and separated their finances, because financially they would be better off if when one of them passes away because of the penalties and everything. And I'm like, wow.
So, okay, let me tell you something. Like, we're not going to be able to defeat whatever, like we're talking about migration, the Muslims, or not even Muslims, but like just migrants, right? They're having kids at a rate that we're never going to catch up to. They're getting married, they don't care. I mean, they're being taken care of by the government, and we're over here worrying about what's going to happen to us financially if we have a kid, instead of thinking about, wow, wouldn't a kid be great to bring into this
sometimes
world,
you just need to have a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we have a big issue in North Carolina, our area of foster children. They need a lot of foster children. We actually thought about fostering a child, though they do come with some difficulties because you have to go take classes, and then the whole point is that you might not keep the child. The child's point is to actually go back to the family eventually, which is kind of heartbreaking. It's kind of like I don't want to compare kids with animals, but it's kind of like raising a puppy for like the first 5 years, and all of a sudden you have to give it to somebody. It's like, wait a minute, I'm attached.
Do they evaluate the kid and then they'll say, okay, he's okay to stay with you? Because the way I see it is, because of my stance on gay marriage, is also a stance on just a gay household, like a gay family. So with that being said, I like what Dave Chappelle said. He goes, whoever is gayer is the wife. I think that was so funny, that kind of shit. He goes, if you're gayer, you're the wife. But my thing is, I don't think it's like that. I think it'll always be a husband, and a father. But do you believe that there needs to be a mother in that child's life?
Well, see, I get worried about going that far, because here's what I've told people. I was like, well, if you're actually against gay so-called adoption per se, or raising a child, well, you're technically also against single parents, because what you're saying in a gay marriage is that, and especially it has to be stable. Anything you put in it needs to be stable.
Yep.
Like we've been together for a long time.
What you're saying.
So if you have two guys, that's great. Yes, you're missing a female in the relationship, but you got to think about it. A single parent, you're basically insulting the single parent, because the single parent, you're saying, well, you're not fit enough to raise that child because you don't have a male or you don't have a female, in there. But I think there's ways to like get them that point, and I don't think that gay people per se or lesbians are going to raise gay children. You know what I'm saying? Like if I have a child, I always thought that I would just let them, if I had a baby, everybody runs out and gets blue or pink or whatever. I think I would just get neutral colors, because I know when I grew up, I love purple. I mean, when I grew up, my parents didn't think anything about me, but I played with all sorts of different toys, and that's gets scary about it, because I played with Cabbage Patch Kids, I played with My Little Ponies and Rainbow Bright, but G.I. Joes and everything else, and I put my hands on my hips every once in a while when I was little, but it's scary. It kind of goes to the transgender issue, and this is what somebody told me. It's like people are worried about homicide, pretty much, because they're calling it that the transgenders in themselves, because they're trying to change children at an early age, that the minute that child becomes like a tomboy or a feminine boy or a masculine girl, they're automatically trying to change their sex.
Exactly.
And they haven't even hit puberty.
Exactly. This is wrong with parents today. I hope everyone is listening.
It's child abuse. I mean,
whatever happened to your child going through their phase.
Yeah.
Now they're embracing it as a lifestyle. My son wears a dress. Oh my God, he's transgender. Instead of clapping,
it's ridiculous.
Son does great in the test. No, it's he's transgender. Clap, clap, clap.
I mean, come on. I mean, I know when I was in my teens. I mean, my mom would mom and dad would leave, and I'd go and put my mom's like yellow robe on, and I'm like, and maybe try a bra. but I'm like, this isn't for me. So, I mean, imagine you getting caught when you're trying to put your mom's bra on and your mom's happens to be like a big liberal. It's like, oh, my son's trying to be a girl, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into hormones and crap. They're probably going to force it on you. And I always think it's like, they say you're until 7 years old, you can be changed, apparently, your attitude and everything. And I don't remember being more alert until I turned about 8 or 7 of my surroundings. So you could imagine if they take a child who's like 3 or 4 and they think that that boy is a girl, and they go through the change, and all of a sudden that kid becomes aware and finds out that they used to be the other gender.
This should be a rule. You should not be able to change your sex until you are ready for sex.
You've got to have your puberty and everything. I mean, because there it is.
Puberty,
and I tell people there is.
Be aware of sex. You got to understand if you really want this. You don't push this on kids. There's a child abuse, it's sex abuse. It's parents should not even be. They shouldn't even be called parents. It's just like, it's disgusting. It's disturbing. You're opening a gateway to pedophilia too, because you're putting them with grown men and women who are just like probably holding them and looking at them, and you're saying my son. These men are attracted to my son, and how can I make them even more attracted?
It kind of goes into the beauty pageants there. It's like, whoa, wait a minute.
It's sick, and then it's like these parents, back then there was bragging rights about my son joined the football team, my daughter joined the cheerleading team.
My son wears a dress, yay!
My son wears a dress. Clap, he found out his gender, and guess what? If there's only 2 genders, then why is it you can only transition from female to male and male to female, and that's it? You can't transition from any other so-called gender.
I'm gonna be a little more stubborn. I'm gonna turn into a attack helicopter.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I think actually she legally changed her sex to a male, so she's now Mr. Lauren Severn. Just to mess with him.
We'll call her Lawrence.
Lawrence.
We'll call it the Lawrence Northern or whatever. But yeah, so but it's just like, we gotta have fun, Peter. You understand? Like, we have to have fun. We have to laugh at them. I mean, they can cry all they want, and I always say you're either gonna cry or you're gonna laugh. And we're laughing, of course. They're crying, and we're gonna laugh even more because they're crying.
Oh, believe me, when they send me, like the liberals, they love to attack you. They especially attack me like crazy when something goes on, and they'll send me such stupid things. Like, they made the joke because I had 18 people show up at the rally. It was Gays for Trump rally, whatever. It's supposed to be March for MAGA, which was sad because it's March for MAGA. And it's like, wow, I didn't get as many more people that came out. But what kind of killed me, and I try to tell people, it's like, what killed me was the week before, they ended up having that alt-right and alt-light rally. Everybody came to that. A lot of people thought that was my rally. You know what I'm saying? They got confused. So I enjoyed our rally. I got over 7,000 views, but they made fun of me. And as funny was, I was laughing. I laughed at the comments. And I actually was sending goofy comments back. Like, they would send me the meme of a little, what's her name? Shirley Temple going, ooh. And I went and covered my mouth and made a little meme of me going, ooh, giggle, giggle, back at it. Because I thought it was hilarious. Somebody was like somebody slipping on water. So I was like, I'm at the Trump Hotel. I'm at the Trump Hotel, and I'm sitting there. Somebody's sitting an OK sign in the background, and I'm sipping on water. I'm like, the hell with you. You're really making me upset.
Who cares? The thing is, they're trying to trigger me right now with the whole GoFundMe thing. They hate the GoFundMes.
I've got more problems with the right actually on my GoFundMes. I've had people come after me trying to say I'm making money. I actually had to make an article on the gaysfortrump.org site that actually breaks down what I spent and how I made money. On the site. I've had, and God bless, I don't want to mention the guy, but Milo's friend Lucian, he talked for over 2 hours with Ali, talking and just trying to discredit me. And I haven't even mentioned, this is the first time I've mentioned anything, and I still have him on a friend list on Twitter, and I have a friends list on things, and I still send him stuff because, like, he needs to get over it. I wrote the article, and it basically broke down. I've spent over $12,000 on my own money in the last year. So I am not getting rich off of what I've done. I am not getting any money. Just because I raised like $15,000, people gotta understand that went for billboards and things like that. I am not rich. I am now doing like odd jobs to make money, and this radio station hopefully it'll do well, but this costs money. Things.
I hear that.
You can't do things without money. We want to do the MAGA awards. That costs money. I want to be at CPAC this year. That costs money. And people. Too many GoFundMes, it's like I've calmed down on the GoFundMes, and if you want to donate, that's fine. I think it'll pick up.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to donate, that's fine. Yes, I'm saying donate and support because people love what I'm doing in New York City. It's New York City. No one expected
the liberals will advertise more for you, for real. Exactly. I've had the liberals advertise for me. I've actually, if you notice my wall, I've actually calling out Fox News because I have been doing this for almost. Was it about 2 years now? We had the Gay Deplorable, we had the March for Trump, we had all our events. I have never been on Fox News. I've never invited to Fox News. I've never had Fox News come and cover our events. I've never been approached by Fox News, but I've had InfoWars and CNN and MSNBC and stuff like that. BBC or whatever talk to me. But never Fox News, my idol, because they were in their own little thing, So I was like, you know what? If I can't get Fox News to come to me, I'll start my own radio station.
Amen. That's what's up, and it's just like with Fox News, we were trying to get them to speak about the story. Hannity picked it up, though, thank God.
Yeah, Hannity's good. He works with some people, like, he works with Chad. Chadwick talks to Tucker. And Hannity talks to, I think, Christopher Moran. But I've never actually been on any of the Fox News, and I don't understand why I can't get on there.
Hey, you know what? Well,
it's weird.
On Hannity's radio.
I think you might have a better shot because you're in New York. Maybe it's a little bit harder for me.
That's possible. I mean, you got to think about it. Chadwick is in New York too, so it's easy.
I consider it's a little easier for them. If I kind of want to be in DC more. I'm trying to find a job in DC. I want to work for the White House, really, ultimately.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, actually, tomorrow, because the thing is, right, with the GoFundMe, they're thinking, he's not working, he's not doing anything. But tomorrow, I'm actually going to go to the city to help a mayoral candidate.
Nice.
But I don't need to say that to people. I don't need to prove myself. I've been out there. They see what I'm doing. I'm fighting against the left in the most humane, civilized way as possible. And it's not easy, because these people are animals. But it's all right, because I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to change New York City. If you change New York City, you're going to change the world.
Oh, definitely.
It's one of the most influential cities in the world, and it's hitting hard. It's hitting them so hard that they're mentioning me and their little hate speeches. I would say that these are hate speeches because they're calling for violence.
Yeah, they're definitely hate violence. I told people, like, everything that I ever do, I guarantee you, I go by the constitutional right for peaceful assembly. I do not want violence at all. Like, we're gonna protest the Charlotte Gay Pride, because that got all big. And long story on that, there's a guy who applied, and he's got a different name for his group, but he applied as Gays for Trump. And so he got gripey about me supposedly stealing his story. And I'm like, dude, we're the ones that were Gays for Trump, not you. But we had to write him off. So, I'm like, I mean, I actually was giving, it's funny, I was giving credit to Milo because I thought I thought that I had created a group after Milo's party. But then I was like, wait a minute, I created the group in February. He didn't have the party until July. And I wasn't on Twitter until after July. And so I had no clue what was going on Twitter. And that's what get people trying, oh, you stole the moment. I was like, no, I didn't, because I'm the one that actually had it on Facebook and got it more organized. It wasn't just a hashtag. I got it organized. We're still trying to organize it. We're still trying to and I think we're going to be, you know, you're fighting the end at New York because, you know, if you change New York, you'll change everything. I've been saying the same thing kind of with gays. Gays are the most out gripey people, you know. Every time you see the liberals, they're the gays. So I'm like, if we can get equally loud on the conservative method, and I'm sorry, I love the log cabin Republicans, but only some of the different groups are actually really good. The rest kind of, Milo said it right. They're not doing it right, you know, and that's why Milo had to step in, you know. And I'm not Milo. I've joked that I'm like the Southern Milo because I got a Southern accent, but nobody can be Milo. You know what I'm saying? But it's actually hilarious. I did not know Milo that much. I hadn't really studied him that much, but I started seeing more stories, and I'm like, wait a minute, me and him have like the same views on a lot of stuff. And I was like, I had no clue he had that same view as me. You know, like, damn. And we both like black guys or biracial guys or whatever. So I was like, he's like, I was like really into kind of Southern Milo. Somebody compared me to Milo. That's kind of neat, you know. Actually hilarious because the South Korean guy went up there to get autograph, and I had tweeted a couple of times, like sent Milo a message. He responded back originally. He hasn't really responded back to me because I thought maybe Lucian got to him or whatever. But he mentioned, oh, this is for Peter. The South Korean guy said this is for Peter Boykin. He's like, oh, I know. He said, I know Peter Boykin. He's president of Gays for Trump. You tell him hi. And then he signed the book, and he signed it to Peter Boykin. Gays for Trump, hashtag Gays for Trump. I was like, oh my God, I'm like freaking, I'm still in cloud nine about that because I'm like, it's right next to my Trump signed book behind me on my show.
Let me tell you something, Peter, right? Gay conservatives are probably one of the strongest people in this country for the simple fact that they had to come out of two closets.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks that being conservative is so controversial that you're even saying you gotta come out of the closet of being a conservative. But this is what I'm doing. I stand for all groups that are for Trump. I even stand for groups that are not for Trump for the simple fact they're for America. You know, there's people there.
That's what the MAGA concept is about. It's not a. You know, that's what we keep talking about.
America great again, not making Trump great again. Trump's already great.
That's why I don't even call this network. I call this network MAGA One Radio. But I don't say conservative talk. I say talk and music with a MAGA twist because we're going to have. You have conservative. I have liberal views on some things. You know, I have libertarian views on things. I mean, I for one still like Bill Clinton like crazy. I can't stand W. You know, but I love Reagan. You know, it's like I'm back and forth on different things. I voted for Hillary in the primaries. She completely sold out after that. You know, and completely turned crap. You know, I actually think Bill Clinton's not that bad. I think it's Hillary. I think it's Hillary that's the bad person. You know, I really think you seen when Bill Clinton gets off the path or whatever. You know, he went out and said Obamacare is horrible. You know, and they put him back in they shut him up real quick. She probably threatened to kill him.
You know, what's funny is Trump was saying Obamacare in the rally, and I was like, Obama doesn't care. Like I said so loud, and like his staff was looking at me. They liked it though. You know, the thing is, like, it doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be right next to Trump, and I still have my energy. I still have my aura. You know, and it's like people see that, and people either are afraid of it or they're just excited for me. Like they're like, yes, I can feel it. Like when I meet you, you know, you're out there, you're spoken, and here I meet. It was Chadwick that got me more into like the gay conservative side, where I met these people, and then you know, I knew I was gonna meet Milo. I said to myself, I'm gonna meet Gavin McInnes, I'm gonna meet Milo, I want to meet Ben Shapiro, I want to meet all of them. You know, I even want to meet Richard Spencer, so I can say, you know, you're the head of the alt-right. They think you're violent. Yeah, you got punched in the face and you didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And stop condemning whatever happened on Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah, right? I wouldn't mind meeting him. I think that I don't know. Sometimes I think there's controlled opposition between the two. I really actually wish that I could get Jack and Mike if they like because of the whole deplorable thing. Like, they actually blocked me from my main account, so I can't tweet them. But I can see them from all my other accounts, and I see them when it's on Periscope, and I actually donated to them a couple of times, a few bucks, you know. But I'm like, unblock me so I can tweet more stuff about you, because I actually appreciate what Savinovich does, because he actually...
Wait, he blocked you?
Yeah, he blocked me from his main account a long time ago because of the deplorable. Like, I also Jeff Ganesi, or whatever his name is, he doesn't want anything to do with me, unfortunately. But
this is great. You see, when people block you,
yeah,
right, it means they're putting a lot of energy into like hating you or whatever.
Well,
you know?
He doesn't hate me. I think Mike Savinovich doesn't hate me. I think he's just so busy that he doesn't care about unblocking me, because he doesn't block me from his personal account, and he doesn't reblock me from other accounts that I know he knows it's me. You know what I'm saying?
What I would say is strange about that is I don't block anybody. Like, they don't affect me in any way.
I only block people if they're really bad. And then even on Twitter, one day I actually said I had like 200 people I blocked, and I was like, you know what? I'm free. I feel free today. I'll just unblock everybody. And I unblocked everybody. Now I immediately reblocked somebody like that day. And I still don't block too many people, but I do block them if they're getting really offensive tweets. You know what I'm saying? If they start talking about personal things about me, then I'm going to block them.
I can't stand that. There's these conservatives, I call them conservatives. They're the ones that want to get personal with you. They're the ones that want to know about your life. They want to know like how much money you make. They want to know like when you, like, you know, if you take a dump. You know.
Well, my press agent now has told me to not, like, even when Lucian was tweeting about me and some other people were tweeting about me, and again, this is the first time I've really said anything about the guy name, because I didn't want to give them any kind of fame. But I will not retweet or get into an argument with them at all. I'll let other people, my fans, you know, tweet, and I'll retweet them, or I'll answer them directly. But I'm not going to get in a back and forth with people to try to promote them more or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, or get into an argument. I have people who will take care of that for me. Like I said, I am to the point where, do you hear Milo really going after people, you know, on Twitter or something like that? Well, not Twitter, but on Facebook and stuff. You know, do you see any of that? No, you don't, because we're beyond that. Yeah, there's millions of people in the world, and I don't have the time to deal with. And I would much rather, and I'm not going to block those people, you know. I will only block somebody if they will actually, like one person who basically said they didn't want to hear from me ever again. So I blocked them, because that way I didn't accidentally send them a message, you know, through Facebook. Because I know I will. And I told people, if you don't want a message from me, you definitely not want to be a friend for me, because I'm going to send you stuff, period. That comes with me. I'm the Peter.exe virus.
Right. This is what you have to do, Peter. This is what you have to do. It's a shame, but this is the only way you can get your name out there. You have to shed blood or break history. And what you got to do is, like, if you ever feel like, okay, something I'm doing is probably not a good idea, do it. I always feel like the best ideas are ones you think are the worst.
Well, I got up there because I spammed the hell out of people. Some people joking, you know, like, you spamming them. I'm like, yeah, I had to spam the hell out of the GoFundMes. I had to spam the hell out of the people to get my name out there, because that's the only way. I didn't have a large network of people to push the stuff. So I had to push it and bug the hell out of people to get it done. But I got a $50,000 event done, you know, with the floorball by pushing the hell out of everybody, and I still do it. That's why I'm pushy. That's why I think if Donald Trump put me in the White House, I could get a job done. Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. You see, I always say to everybody, don't go to the press, let them come to you. You know.
Definitely.
And that's how it is with everything. They always say like, oh, what are you gonna do when you finally meet Trump? And I go, if I meet Trump, like recent, like if it's gonna be recent, like if I meet Trump soon, I'm going to kind of be disappointed for the simple fact, like, this man is the biggest target in probably the world. Like, he has a bounty on his head or whatever, you know. People want to kill him. And I've only been doing this for about a few months, and I get to meet you. I shouldn't even be this close to you. You need to get better security, sir.
I haven't, like, shook his hand, but the events that I've been at, I've been so close to Trump that he absolutely has seen me multiple times. You know what I'm saying? and we've been that close. And but as for Mike Pence, and I told this story before, everybody thought, oh man, Pence is anti-gay, and I'm like, I always bring it up. I've got a hat that says "Make America Great Again." It says #Gays for Trump on it, and Mike Pence signed it at Hickory, North Carolina, right before the election. He looked at the hat. He gave me this weird look, like, what? You know, like, huh? And I was like, yes, Mr. Pence, Governor Pence, they're gays for Trump. We appreciate you and what Trump is doing. And he looked at me and he's like, he shrugged his shoulders, like, sure, okay, signed the hat, handed it back to me. So I joke with people, I was like, everybody, all the gays people griping, it's like, Mike Pence is going to shock us. And I tell people, I was like, there's no way. I was like, because I'm the guy who shocked Pence first. Because he literally was shocked.
And you gotta understand, like, what these people do, like, they're false narratives, you know. Mike Pence is gonna let you keep the gays, Trump is racist. We flip it on them, and we make memes of, like, Trump with, like, eyes of thunder and, like, shocking.
Oh, I've got that. I've got a couple of those pictures made for me. I said, I got the one that says "I shocked John." I got one that has me with lightning bolts coming in my eyes, and it says "I shocked Pence first."
Exactly, you know, and it's like that's what you want to do. You're gonna shock the nation. A friend of mine actually reached out to me to say to get in contact with you for the Gay Pride Parade, right?
Okay.
And I wanted to do it. I was so ready to do it. I wanted to get LGBT shirts that said "Liberty, Guns, Beers, Trump." Right, but the thing is, I'm not against LGBT. It's just we're giving.
Well, we're going to protest, and we're not protesting against the LGBT. We're protesting the pride for not letting us be there, and that's the whole point. I've made it the point as if we're going to try to put in a booth. If we're allowed, great, but if we're not, we're going to protest. It's at the end of the hour, and I'm actually supposed to get off. And I'd love to have you on again, and I'm glad that you were on. Definitely thank you for being on the show.
Of course. I know you were trying to get me on earlier, like
a
long time ago. I know you were, and I was like, it'll happen.
We were trying to do the Skype, guys. Just said, you know what? I think it's a little easier just connect to somebody on the phone and just go.
Yeah, but you know what? This is great. That's what we have to do. This is how you make America great again. You don't even have to agree with each other. You just have to know that at the end of the day, you want this country to succeed. You want this country to, prevail. And this is how we're going to do it.
Definitely.
We're two different people. You're from the South and from the North. You're gay, I'm straight. It doesn't even matter. It's the fact that we both wave the American flag. We both love our president, We got balls. We go out there. We tell Pence to sign our hats. We tell them it's a sword and feed the homeless. We're doing stuff.
Definitely. Well, thank you for being on the show, and we'll talk again soon.
Always. All right, guys. I'm Jovi Val, the Modern Patriots, and remember to always protect free speech.
Thank you very much.
God bless. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. And that is MAGA First News with Peter Boykin, and thank you for tuning in. We'll talk about Scaramucci and everything else, current events, on Thursday. And you can join us, and we have live recaps of this show on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. So give us a call back soon, and Thursday we're going to have a wonderful show. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you for tuning in to MAGA First News with Peter Boykin. God bless everybody. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll post this on Facebook soon. God bless.